Ripple displacing Swift as the primary company for moving money cross borders could be one of the most bullish things we ever see for XRP. Now, we have already seen Ripple executives come out and talk about some of the prices XRP could hit if this was in fact to happen. But in this video, I want to break down just how realistic this actually is. I want to share with you a brand new post from someone with more than 25 years of banking experience at Standard Chartered, talking about whether or not this is an actual realistic view to maintain. In this video, we're going to be going over his post and talking about some of the most important things to understand when talking about whether or not Ripple could actually one day disrupt the Swift system using XRP. Guys, make sure to stick around for this. I think this is extremely powerful. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start this video out and just quickly share something with you that I believe is extremely powerful and extremely motivating in really understanding how early you are to this asset class. Earlier today, Abs from the Good Morning Crypto Show tweeted this out, and what it is a research report breaking down how many millionaires in the world hold cryptocurrencies. And what we can see is that there are only 172,000 millionaires in the world holding crypto right now. This is absolutely astonishing and something that I really did not expect to see. There is over 25 million millionaires in the US alone, and to know that less than 172,000 millionaires hold crypto worldwide is absolutely shocking. I really do believe this perfectly demonstrates how early we are to this asset class. For there to be 25 million millionaires in the United States alone and only 172,000 crypto millionaires worldwide, guys, that should let you know that a lot of us doing the research right now, doing the hard work, enduring the FUD are likely going to make up the percentage of future millionaires as this number grows. Guys, I guarantee you that in the next 10 to 50 years, we are going to see that more than 80% of the millionaires on Earth hold cryptocurrency. If we already have 25 million millionaires in the United States alone right now, and only 172,000 millionaires in crypto, guys, if we were to just close that number in the United States alone, we would be looking at millions of new people becoming millionaires because of crypto. And what we know is that the numbers outside the United States are probably much larger as well. We are at the very early days of this asset class. We are at the ground floor. We are in the position to benefit most as this asset class goes mainstream. I never want people to forget how early we actually are. With the advent of technology, with the advent of things like YouTube and Twitter, we're able to communicate with one another, and it makes it seem like everyone knows about cryptocurrency. But the fact of the matter is, we are still so early. We have not even come close to mass adoption. And while for some people that's disheartening, for me, right, it is perfect for opportunity. It shows that right now we are currently at the ground floor of a technology that I believe has the potential to completely revolutionize the financial system. And that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this video. So guys, do not lose sight. You are extremely early. And I really do believe that when we look back at this chart 5, 10, 15 years from now, we're going to end up looking at a lot of ourselves in this $1 million mark, making up the future crypto millionaires. I want to move on and jump into the extremely fascinating report I wanted to cover in this video. I mean, to me, these are the kinds of reports that I love to see. It is so rare we just get a quality report like we're going to go over in this video, because in crypto, like we talked about earlier, there's just not enough mainstream media, not enough mainstream reporters, not enough mainstream bankers covering this asset class to really get this high quality information. But what we're about to go over is really fascinating and is really going to show you that Ripple is actually a lot closer in disrupting Swift than I think many people truly understand. Now, before we jump into the article itself, I want to make one thing clear. This thing was not written by some scrub. The guy who wrote this, Mohammed Arif, he actually worked at Standard Chartered as the CIO of the bank. So I mean, that's pretty high up in one of the largest financial institutions in the world. So I think that we can definitely listen to what he says here. This is an opinionated article, no doubt about it. But for someone with 25 years of banking experience at the top of one of the biggest banks in the entire world, I mean, his opinion is vastly more important than almost any other person's opinion out there. So we're going to go through this article. We're going to break down what he sees in terms of XRP ultimately disrupting the Swift system. Now, this article's long. I really just want to focus on the comparison between the two, because I think this is going to provide the most value to you guys in really understanding how XRP and Ripple compare against Swift. So to start off, let's go over technology. Swift and Ripple operate on different technologies. Swift is a secure messaging system that relays on correspondent banking relationships to settle transactions. It uses a standardized messaging protocol, FIN, to transmit payment orders, which are then processed by a recipient bank. Blah, 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 blah. Ripple, in contrast, uses blockchain technology. The consensus algorithm validates transactions recorded on a decentralized ledger on RippleNet. This approach eliminates the need for intermediaries, allowing for a direct peer-to-peer transaction. Ripple uses XRP to provide liquidity, enabling faster and more cost-effective payments. So essentially, right, Ripple and Swift are just two companies. They're using different rails. Swift is using very slow, expensive, outdated rails. Ripple is using new internet rails to move money faster and cheaper. So right now, it's pretty obvious Ripple wins on technology. Transaction speed. Well, it says right here that Swift can take 5 days to settle a payment, which is atrocious. And even with new Swift GPI, it can still take 24 hours. So that's terrible. And when you compare it to Ripple, who closes transactions in the matter of seconds, I mean, it's not even comparable when covering transaction speed. It's really important to understand, I don't believe it's possible we head into a world where payments aren't instantaneous. So if Swift can't rapidly close this gap, I don't see there being any way Swift really survives. You're going to have instant payments and instant settlement in the future. And if Swift is only able to cut that down to 24 hours with the current product, I see that as being a massive issue. We can also see right here that the cost for a Swift transaction can be very expensive, and that's because there's multiple parties in the middle of each transaction, manual processes, and essentially everyone's taking a cut of the payment. With Swift, right, there's no middleman. Everything moves through XRP, and XRP is the decentralized neutral asset that essentially moves all the value from point A to point B anywhere in the world. So it's vastly cheaper and it's vastly faster to use XRP. And like I said, we're going to trend to a world where payments are essentially free. You're going to be only paying fractions of a second for a payment. We're going to see a lot more payments. We're going to see a lot smaller value payments moving at larger frequencies. These are all things Ripple is perfectly positioned to do with their current technology stack. So Ripple is so far ahead of what Swift can even comprehend doing right now. It's important to understand that Swift has some serious catching up to do when it comes to the technology. Ripple is already miles ahead. This is not my opinion. This is someone who's at the top of the banking industry. Let's move to security. Surprisingly, he actually compares them pretty much the same in terms of security. He says that Swift has a lot more checks, but because there's so many people in the middle, there's a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, a lot of different middlemen. This actually leaves more opportunity for fraud or someone trying to trick the system, while Ripple does everything on the blockchain. So it's actually a lot more reliable and creates a much better pathway that's auditable. So he talks about how essentially they're pretty close to each other, but because Ripple does everything on a blockchain, it's actually much easier to bring in all that information and trust it. Where Swift, you're kind of just trusting trusted counterparties. And while that can seem like a good idea, there's obviously a lot of holes there. So in terms of security, what we can see is Ripple's actually winning pretty big on this front as well. He calls them similar, but when you read into it, it kind of just seems like Ripple blows them out of the water. Scalability was another interesting one. He talks about how scalability is actually a pretty big issue in Swift, and that right now, even though Swift has great coverage, they really can't handle a lot of daily transactions. That's why a lot of the transactions are so big. So scalability is actually an issue for Swift. And he actually talks about how Ripple using XRP to do thousands of transactions a second is more than enough to handle Swift's volume. So I thought this was fascinating. He seems to think XRP is perfectly scalable. Now, where XRP and Ripple are obviously losing is in network reach, right? Swift is connecting over 200 countries and 11,000 financial institutions. XRP and Ripple are about 500. So obviously, Swift has a much bigger network, but that's the investment, right? Like we want to invest in the XRP ledger and Ripple getting bigger and taking over Swift. So I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing, more as an obvious opportunity. Compliance, very, very important. Swift is way more compliant. Obviously, Ripple is using XRP. There's the ongoing Ripple SEC case. Well, technically it's over, but whether there's an appeal, blah, 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 blah. That is highlighted right here. But listen to this, because this is fascinating. And this is actually in line with something JP Morgan said as well. Ripple, it uses XRP, has faced regulatory challenges in the United States. Ripple has been involved in a high-profile lawsuit with the SEC, which claims that XRP is an unregistered security. While Ripple has defended its position, the outcome of this legal battle could have significant implications for its future adoption. Despite these challenges, Ripple has made strides in regulatory compliance, working with regulators to ensure its technology meets local standards. So right here, we're hearing once again, if Ripple can beat the SEC in court, XRP is poised for mass adoption. And the key issue here, right, which claims XRP is an unregistered security, Ripple already won on that front. So this is another major bank, JP Morgan, and now also Standard Chartered, essentially coming forward and saying XRP is poised for mass adoption once this case wraps up. Very interesting. Obviously, liquidity is a massive issue for Swift. I'm going to read this one outright because it's critical. Liquidity is a critical factor in cross-border payments. For transactions involving less common currencies, Swift transactions rely on pre-funded Nostro-Vostro accounts, which can tie up significant capital and limit liquidity. Ripple addresses these issues with its use of XRP as a bridge currency. By providing instant liquidity, XRP allows banks to avoid pre-funding and drastically increase liquidity. So that is absolutely huge. Now, the last one is transparency. Obviously, this one is like, Ripple is obviously a lot more transparent. You can see the entire thing on the blockchain. Swift, it's all centralized. It's a lot of, hey, just trust this person's going to do this. Just trust this person's going to do this. And most people trust it because, or else why would you even be using the network, right? You have to trust the network to opt in. So most people just trust the network, but there's not a lot of transparency. So key to understand the difference there. Ripple, you don't really have to trust anyone. It's all transparent on the blockchain. So guys, overall, I thought this was fascinating. What we saw is that Ripple actually ranked higher when you came out to the author's final score compared to Swift. It got a 9 out of 10 on technology. Swift got a 7. It got a 9 on speed. Swift got a 5. It got an 8 on cost. Swift got a 6. It got a 9 on security. Swift got an 8. It got a 9 on scalability. Swift got a 7. It got a 6 on network reach. Swift got a 10. Expected. 7 on compliance. Obviously, Swift got a 9. Never going to win that one. Beat Swift in terms of liquidity massively, 9 to 5. Transparency, 8 to 7. Future potential, 9 to 8. Overall better rating. What did I learn from this? Ripple and XRP are winning in the areas that matter. They're going to fix network reach. They're going to fix compliance. But I'm not convinced Swift can fix transaction speed. I'm not convinced Swift can fix liquidity. These are massive issues for Swift that I don't think they're going to be able to solve even remotely as fast as Ripple is going to be able to get with regulators, fix compliance, and expand their network reach. I really do believe this really shows you that when we talk about what cryptocurrencies are going to create these future millionaires, it should be more obvious than ever that Ripple and XRP should be at the top of this list. They are currently in the process of being a very early financial institution and disrupting one of the most important legacy financial institutions on earth. Almost every single major bank has came in and said, if XRP can get clarity, this company is going to go bonkers. And that is exactly what just happened. Now we're just waiting for that wide scale adoption. We're waiting for institutions to understand that Ripple's product is actually exponentially better. We're waiting for some of the FUD around cryptocurrencies to diminish. But overall, in terms of where the technology sits and changing the world, it has never looked better. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.